Hi, my name is Samantha Hart, and I'm going to talk to you today about the university's Title IX policies, procedures, and requirements. Title IX is a federal law that all educational institutions are required to follow if they receive federal funding, which is pretty much every school in the United States, including K through 12, technical schools, and of course, higher education. So it is a gender equity law. And what it says is that nobody should be excluded from participating in or denied the benefits of an educational um, activity, program, or education in general based on their gender, their sex, their gender identity, their gender expression, their sexual orientation. All of those things are encompassed within Title IX, and we may not treat people differently because of those things. And we must ensure that that everyone is receiving an equal access to education, and we're not discriminating accordingly. Title IX was put into effect as a law in 1972. And back then, it was initially thought of as the Equal Women in Sports Law. People thought that, or it was really put in place to ensure that women were receiving the same educational opportunities in men. However, over time, it has certainly evolved over the last 50 plus years. And so we know that it covers gender discrimination, it covers sexual misconduct, it covers pregnancy and parenting. And so the scope of Title IX is pretty broad. For today's purposes, I'm going to be talking to you about our Title IX policies specific to gender discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. Why is it important is a rhetorical question. Those that are involved with a Title IX report, meaning that a report was submitted to the Title IX office indicating that someone has been experiencing gender discrimination or harassment. And it is important because Title IX is what requires the university to respond. It also provides us with guidelines for responding, regulations that provide requirements for us to respond, and ensuring that we do so in a prompt, equitable, and thorough manner. And so individuals that are experiencing discrimination or harassment there may be several implications related to that, meaning that there might be a physical, mental, academic impact, social impact, professional impact, reputational. These are all things that the Title IX office works with to help support individuals that have both experienced discrimination and harassment and those individuals that have been accused of engaging in that behavior. And so our job is to make sure in the Title IX office that we are applying our policies and our procedures in an equitable manner, so we can determine how we are restoring access to education for the person that's been affected, and we're doing so in a manner that issues due process to the individual that has been accused of that behavior. And so our policies and our procedures are designed to be both trauma informed, meaning we're engaging in a trauma informed process for the individual that has experienced the behavior, and due process focused, meaning that we are administering policies and procedures in a manner that affords both parties the opportunity to fully respond to the allegations. Safety and equal access to university program is paramount. And so we need to ensure that we are deploying supportive measures for both parties throughout the duration of any investigation into a report of gender discrimination or harassment. Because we want to ensure that the university is responding appropriately, promptly, equitably, and thoroughly, we have a mandatory reporting policy in place for all faculty and staff. There are a few exceptions to the mandatory reporting policy, and that would be for confidential resources, which I'm going to share a little bit about further down. But however, otherwise, any other faculty or staff member at the university is required to report any indication or notice that they receive related to an individual disclosing that they've experienced gender discrimination, harassment. Again, that includes sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking as well. And so that's really to ensure that the university is responding appropriately. That information gets reported directly to me as the Title IX coordinator, and then either myself or someone on my team reaches out and connects with the person who's experienced the behavior so that we can make sure they are at the very least receiving support. We have an online reporting form that can be found at bucknell.edu/Title IX. And the form can be filled out with identifying information if you want a direct response, or it can be filled out anonymously if you don't want to officially report your identifying information, but you want the information to get to our office. Our ability to respond to anonymous complaints and reports may be limited. However, we will document the information and utilize it for the ability to identify patterns, and or if the person wants to come forward later or in the future with their identifying information so that we can act upon the report. So what happens when a report is made? There are multiple options for the person who has experienced discrimination or harassment. There is an option to file a formal complaint, which would initiate our investigation and hearing process. This is our official disciplinary process on record, meaning that we cannot discipline someone unless we go through a formal investigation and hearing process. And again, that goes back to the due process that's afforded to the individual who's accused, because the potential remedy and or sanctions that might result from these sorts of allegations may involve anything from a reprimand all the way up to an expulsion or separation from the university. And so we want to make sure that we are providing the individual that has been accused of this discrimination or harassment with the ability to fully respond first. And so in the pending the outcome, we would implement supportive measures to ensure that we are minimizing any concern of future risk that there might be contact or conflict. And so we have mechanisms that we would employ so that both parties can continue engaging in their educational experience without fear of that risk, without risk of that further conflict or contact. We can issue those supportive measures with or without a formal complaint. So if somebody has experienced behavior of discrimination or harassment and they do not want to file a formal complaint or engage the investigation or hearing process, we can issue support only. The only time that we would then further investigate is if there has been deemed an immediate health or safety risk to either that person or to the campus community. Otherwise, it's up to the person that has experienced the behavior to tell us which mechanism they want to proceed with. There's also an option for mediation or alternative resolution, and that may come in the form of educational sanctions, an educational conversation, a mediated conversation between the individuals. If the circumstances are appropriate, we will also offer that alternative resolution option to both parties. We have confidential resources on campus. So if somebody wants to share their concerns, but they don't want to file an official report with the university, which would be reporting to my office as the Title IX coordinator, they have confidential resources that they can go to. And these confidential resources will not disclose their identifying information to me. And so the confidential resources we have available are our Associate Director of Interpersonal Violence Prevention and Advocacy. And her office is located in the ELC, which is the Langone Center. And so, again, she can provide students with all of their options, reporting options, resources, support services, and also can connect them to me as a Title IX coordinator to file a formal complaint. But that's only if the individual reporting that to her is wanting that to happen. Otherwise, she will keep the information confidential and provide guidance and advocacy accordingly. We have a counseling center and a health center that are both confidential, and we have university chaplains that are also a confidential resource here on campus. In our local community, we have a relationship with Transitions, which is our local crisis center, and they have a campus advocate that works with students, works particularly with students, and is familiar with our university policies. And so we will work closely with that campus advocate for the purpose of making sure our student is supported both on and off campus. Other resources to be aware of, again, I am Samantha Hart. I am the Title IX coordinator. I am the individual on campus who is tasked with ensuring the university's compliance with Title IX and who ensures that we are utilizing our policies and procedures to make sure our students are enjoying their educational experience without discrimination and harassment. And so my job is to remedy any sort of report or concern that involves those types of things. so that an individual is not hindered from their ability to participate. We have a public safety department, which is our law enforcement for on-campus events. And so anybody who wants to file a criminal report is also offered that opportunity through public safety. Buffalo Valley Regional Police is our local police department, and they would respond or assist an individual who wants to file a criminal complaint for something that happened off campus. The university will seek to protect the privacy and confidentiality of all individuals involved in a report of alleged discrimination, relationship violence, or stalking to the extent that we can. Again, my office is not a confidential office. The Title IX office is not confidential because I need to ensure the university is responding appropriately. And so I will evaluate any request for confidentiality in the context of the university's responsibility to provide a safe and non-discriminatory environment. Again, if an individual truly wants confidentiality, they can reach out to one of the confidential resources we offer. We have a policy that governs our response to sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, stalking, fondling, sexual exploitation, and retaliation. And so you can visit our university policy at bucknell.edu/Title IX and read the full scope there. I'm also happy to talk about our policies and our procedures if you would like to reach out and ask questions or gather some more information from me. The bottom line is if you do not feel comfortable or safe in your environment while you're here on campus, please reach out. We will work with you to ensure your access to your academic opportunities is not being hindered in any regard. We will connect you to the resources you need to be successful. And there are a variety of avenues and support measures available to you, including confidential resources to speak with. It is your decision what is best for you, but we are here to assist in ensuring you are aware of what is available. All students deserve equal access to an education, and it's my job to ensure that the university's policies and procedures afford you as much. We also prioritize prevention education here at Bucknell. We endeavor to be proactive rather than reactive, and so our students get a variety of education, particularly during their first year. And so during student orientation programming and throughout sessions during your first year, your first semester, you will receive education from peer educators who are peers, students who have been trained to educate on these topics. We also offer individualized training depending upon your participation in sports, as an RA, in other leadership opportunities that you may engage in on campus, such as Greek life or student government. We provide individualized training in that respect as well. We also offer a variety of awareness campaigns and events throughout the year that we encourage you to participate in, bystander intervention training. We offer faculty and staff training, and through an It's On Us grant, we brought a keynote speaker last spring to campus to highlight issues surrounding sexual misconduct on college campuses. And so we endeavor to engage in a variety of events and campaigns and awareness programs so that we are continuing to have discussions around these issues and that we can support our students and make sure that we are sending consistent messaging surrounding our values of not tolerating any sort of discrimination or harassment on our campus. Again, we participated on the It's On Us PA campaign, meaning that it's on all of us here at Bucknell to make sure that we're not tolerating those types of behaviors. And we, are proud that we were able to participate in this program and the campaign to make sure that we are sending the message that it's a supportive event all across campus. And so I'm happy again to talk to anybody that's interested in preventative education, in joining peer education programs, in getting training for whatever leadership opportunity or organization you end up taking part in while you're here at Bucknell. If you have questions, you can reach out to me directly. My email is samantha.hart@bucknell.edu. I will likely be seeing you and engaging in some training opportunities with you during your time at Bucknell, particularly during your first year. And so I look forward to seeing you while you're here on campus. And I will love to welcome you to campus. And I just want you to know that I am available at any time with questions or concerns. Thank you, take care, and we will see you soon.